A quick new idea daily from the world's greatest TEDx talks. I'm your host, Atossa Leoni, and this is TEDx Shorts. There's a limit to what data can tell us about the refugee experience. So, how do we grasp the individual humanity of millions of displaced people? Brian Sokol is an artist, author, and photographer who used his camera not only to document refugee camps, but to engage with the people living in them. Working behind the lens changed his preconceptions about what it means to be a refugee, and today he asked us to change ours.
There's a very specific kind of photograph that is a refugee photo. You'll know it if you've seen one. These pictures are quite clear. You can usually tell one by the presence of either dust or rain. They're usually tired people carrying bundles. Sometimes there are leaky boats, and there's usually fences or coils of barbed wire. Now, these photographs aren't necessarily bad. In fact, they can be quite powerful. Problem is that these photographs are one-sided. There's a reason that they exist. These photographs can and do possess the power to shock us into attention, to illuminate crises that might otherwise continue to be ignored. But what they do not do is challenge our beliefs and our preconceptions. If I were to look at these photographs that I've taken, what I would be able to tell you about refugees is that they are generally hungry and tired. And I don't know if I could tell you much more than that. I don't know if I would have any idea that refugees also get married. The refugees attend birthday parties. And refugees have Facebook accounts. Now, the Western narrative of refugees, which has become the dominant narrative of refugees, has the effect of reducing people into victims and reducing stories into mere tales of one-dimensional pity and sorrow. We're spoon-fed repetitious images that match the stereotypes. And as the Nigerian novelist Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie says, the problem with stereotypes is not that they are untrue, but that they are incomplete. The United Nations, various NGOs, and the media also love statistics. Statistics exist for a reason. They're meant to give weight and gravity to crises, to help us to understand. But how often do we use statistics in order to describe the things or the people that we love? The other thing that you should know about statistics is that while they're intended to quantify humanity, they usually dehumanize the people that they're entrusted with accounting for. Say I were to tell you that 2.1 million people have fled from South Sudan, 2.1 million. Now, maybe your brain is bigger than mine and you can really conceive of those numbers, but for me, that number gets lost. Unless I can attach it to an actual flesh and blood human being, it really doesn't have any meaning. That's because there's a big difference between knowledge and information. And I think that what we need in order to understand something of this scale, things like the refugee crisis, are not statistics, they're not numbers, but they're stories of individual people. I decided that rather than telling the story of 234,000 nameless, faceless refugees, I would simply tell the story of one person. And I'd tell it in a way that audiences around the world, regardless of what culture they might be from, what the color of their skin was, would be able to empathize with that person, would hopefully be able to put themselves into the shoes of a refugee for just one moment. And the idea was very, very simple. I just asked refugees to tell me their story and tell me what was the single most important object that they brought with them when they fled from their home and their country. The project that evolved out of this is called The Most Important Thing. War isn't the only thing that drives people out of their homes. Many of the refugees around the world have fled because of who they love, have had to leave their homes and their countries because of the color of their skin or the ethnic group into which they were born. So now, in this age where fear and xenophobia can very quickly morph into policy, it's more important than ever that we remember that it's not only tanks and bombs that can force us from our homes. So the next time that you see a photograph, a dramatic one of large numbers of people that are sad and carrying bundles, or the next time you hear a story, a very simple one, full of shocking statistics about a group who you may not understand very well, ask for more. And remember, this isn't numbers, it's people. I'd like to leave you with a question. If you had 30 seconds before you had to run, carrying whatever you could, climb out the window at the back of your house and go out into the night, perhaps never to return, what would you bring with you? What's your most important thing?
The TEDx talk you just listened to was recorded at a TEDx event in San Diego, California. All TEDx events are independently organized by volunteers who believe in TED's mission of ideas worth spreading. Special thanks to the organizing team at TEDxSanDiego. Visit TED.com/TEDx Shorts to listen to the full talk and learn more about TEDx Shorts. I'm Atossa Leoni. Thanks for listening, and see you tomorrow.